Hey, how's it going? So this video we're going to look at how you can pass data from one page to another which has a contact form on, and then by doing that, passing that data across, it will autofill some of the fields within that form, for example. So in our situation, we were building out a job site, okay, and we were using advanced custom fields for various things, for the jobs and stuff. And what we wanted to be able to achieve is that somebody clicks on a button on a particular job listing that says apply now. Okay, that then redirects them to an application form, which is essentially just a Elementor Pro contact form. But we wanted that contact form to pre-populate some information about the job so that the company knew when they received the email from the form what job the application was in relation to. We've actually come across this a few times in various situations where we've wanted to achieve something similar and never really fathomed out how to do it. So now that we've sussed it out, it might be useful for other people, but also this video is going to be a good reference for us. When we forget later on how to do it, we can kind of remind ourselves. So I'll show you kind of the setup we've got so far and how it's all working. So we've got a job search page, okay, which is essentially just a custom loop. So just before we start, we're using Elementor and Elementor Pro, and you'll need Pro for the form stuff. So this is basically a kind of archive page of jobs that we've created. So the jobs themselves are a custom post type, which then have several custom fields to fill in this information, for example. Okay. So when you click apply now here, this is just a simple button that opens up the actual post itself. Okay. And then so we've got all this information. We've got the job title, we've got the location, salary, posted on, sector, start date, etc. And what we wanted to do is have a button that would then take somebody to a contact form that they could fill out, and then basically that's their application, or initial application, so we say, where they can upload their CV and apply for that job. But of course, when we did this, the button didn't really, obviously the button took them to the application page, but it didn't achieve what we wanted it to achieve. So we're just going to open up this template just a second so we can have a look at that, and we'll show you what's going on. And we'll also open up the application page. In another tab would be useful, but we might not be able to because this is a form, of course. Let's just copy that. Okay, so right. So what we've got here, instead of a button, this is actually a form. And if you click it in the editor, it takes you out, as you can see, which is really unhelpful. Let me just refresh that. Okay, so click on the edit icon over here. So basically this form is acting like a button in the sense that it's not sending an email. So if we look at the actions after submit, we're telling it to redirect, and we're redirecting it to our application form page. Okay, but what we're wanting to do is transfer some information to this page. Okay, so over here you'll see this is just the normal page, the job application page, and over here you'll see you're applying for the following job. Now there's nothing here currently because it's just the standard job application page. But what we want to do is we want to pull over the job name, the salary, and the location over here. So no matter what job somebody's clicking on, whether it's this one or it's this one or any other one in the future, when they get taken to this page, the application page, the relevant information will be pulled over in here and in the form. So this is how you do it. You need to use hidden fields in your form. So just remember that now it's just a button. It looks like a button, but it is a form, because it's quite easy to forget. So we've got 3 hidden fields. We've got a post title, a location, and a salary. So we've just called them that so we can see what we're doing. But what we're working in is the advanced tab of these items. So it's a hidden field, okay? And over here, so what we want to put in this hidden field, so if this wasn't hidden, for example, let's just change this to text, you'll see what's happening. Okay, so the default value, which is what is filled in by default, okay, we have said is going to be the post title, bearing in mind that our post title is actually the job title. Okay, so if I get rid of that, obviously it just says message. Okay, so you're using the dynamic tags, okay, and we're pulling in this post title of this particular job. Okay, we are then giving this an ID, which we'll be using later on. Okay, and we've got a shortcode. Okay, so it's the same for each one of these, okay, except these ones are pulling in advanced custom field data. So this one, the location, is an advanced custom field within that job post type. So all we're doing is we're pulling in the location, and then we're just giving it a name. Okay. So let's just change this back to a hidden field. There it is. So what you now need to do, once you set this up, okay, is you go over to your application page, and this is then where you're telling your form or your content on that page where to get this information. Okay, so in this form we actually have a job applied for, which is a hidden field, because we don't want to show the user that field on the form. What we do want is we want that to be sent through to us when somebody fills that form in, so we know what job they've applied for. But if I change that to text, you can see a job applied for, and then it will automatically fill in the information from whichever referring page we clicked on. So if we look at advanced over here, we'll see that now we are requesting data. So what you do is you use the dynamic tag, and we scroll down and we find request perimeter. Okay, and then over here you click the spanner icon, click get, because we're getting information, and then the perimeter title, okay, is the ID you've given it. Sorry, it's not the ID you've given it. I'm talking absolute rubbish. I need to go back a step and explain in a second where you get this name from. So we request the data, we use a perimeter name, that then helps us pull in the data. Okay, so just going back, when we've got all of these items set up on our button, okay, so we're telling it what data we want to pull in, or what data we want to transfer over to the application form. We then need to tell this button where to redirect to, okay, or this form where to redirect to, because it's not going to be a form that sends email. And then so what we've got is we've got our main job application page, but what we are then doing is we're adding more data to that URL, okay, that this page can use. Okay, so when we look at our form fields, we want to transfer over the post title, okay, and if we look at advanced, it has a shortcode. So we copy this shortcode, we go back to our redirect, all right, and following the final / at the end of the URL, so just here, we then put a perimeter. So just remember we were looking at perimeter name over here. So what we do is we put question mark, and then you can call the parameter whatever you like. So I've just called it job title. Okay, so job title equals, and then we paste our shortcode that I copied just a second ago from this field. Okay, and you do the same for all the others, except the difference is what you'll do is you'll put an and. So this is the end of our first request essentially. Okay, is that question mark job title equals and then the shortcode, but then we want to pull in some more data, so we've got and then we've got another parameter name which we've just called job location, and there's a shortcode for that, and then we've put and again, the salary is our other parameter name, and there's equals shortcode for that. So the shortcodes are all from here in advanced, there, location, advanced, salary, advanced, shortcode. So they've all got the shortcodes. The only bit we are making up is the parameter, which is in the URL. So the ID doesn't really matter what that's called. That's, you know, that's not relevant for transferring the data. What we need is shortcode and then our made up parameter names. Okay, so job title equals, job location equals, the salary equals. And that is our URL. So when we click this button, that URL is the one that you'll see in the address bar, or it will be similar, the shortcodes will be changed. So then, when we're back over here on the application page, and you want to pull in that data, you're essentially going to get the default value. So like we said, we go to dynamic tags, request perimeter, okay, and so we're then going to say type is get, and we're basically saying here get from the perimeter name in the URL. Okay, so whatever's in the address bar, find the perimeter name. Okay, so we're going to say job title in this example, so that the first one we added was job title. Okay, this basically says look in the URL, find the perimeter name, job title, and fill in whatever the data is. Okay, so that's what will happen. If we leave this field unhidden, you'll be able to see that. So I'm just going to update this page. Okay, and what we have over here, although you can't see it currently in the editor, is the same thing, but we're not showing it in a form. So this is just a heading element, and instead of just filling in the title, again we're using dynamic tags, and we're requesting the perimeter. So we're going to get again, and we're saying job title. Okay, and then in advanced we can add something before it if we like. So let's just go job something along those lines. We'll update that, and it's the same for these others as well. We're just requesting the perimeter, get job location. As you can see, advanced, we've just added, you know, a bold location in front of it. So that's all we're doing. So these elements are basically just saying, have a look in the URL, find that perimeter name, and give us the data that's attached to it. And the data attached to it is the shortcode that we mentioned earlier. So if we go and see it in action, so remember this button just opens up this individual custom post type basically. Okay, we click this form now. Remember it's a form, not a button, and you'll see, because it says redirecting to application form, and straight away you can see we've gone to the application form. Okay, but it's pulled in, so this field we have hidden normally, but I left it open so you can see it. So it's pulled in the job name, and then over here you can see again pulled in the job name, pulled in the location, and pulled in the salary. Now if I just copy the URL, I'm conscious that you can't actually see it up there. So the URL is pretty much this. So the shortcode gets replaced by, so remember we had question mark job title equals, so this was the parameter we made up, and the shortcode was here, but then it gets replaced with basically the what is supposed to, what is in that field essentially. So remember our shortcode from our form was the post title, so we're using that shortcode, then changes that in the URL to the actual post title, and again we've got and job location equals, and then it's given us London, so it's used the shortcode and then transferred that information into the URL. So now you can see that on this particular page, when it opens, all these elements are looking at the URL going, okay, so this one, we need to look at the parameter job title, what info is there? So it will look at job title and go, oh, there we go, another job test. So they pop that in there. And then this element is looking at the job location parameter. So it's looking in the URL going, can I find job location? Oh yes I can. That equals, and then it'll pull in that information, London. So that's how you can kind of pull in information from another page using Elementor Pro forms. It's really, really useful, and as you can see in this case, or this use scenario, it's really helpful, because we now can have this button, or form, shall I say, that is in our global template. So this is a global individual post template, so we don't have to create individual forms for every single job that we have, because with a normal button it would just take us to the normal page. So at the moment, if we just redirect it a second, so this takes us to the page that it auto fills out. If I get rid of all the question mark job title but so on and so forth, this is just the basic page. It doesn't fill out any information. So yes, on one hand you could have someone fill in that information, yes, I'm applying for this job, but you can't always rely on people filling that out. So it's really useful to be able to pull information in from another page, and there's lots of different use cases for that, but yeah, hopefully that's helped explain how you can do that. It did take me a little bit to get my head around, what I was doing in terms of how you get this information. This is a form, but I'm trying to make it a button. It does get a little bit confusing. The other thing to note is on this, where you've made it act like a button, okay, what you want to make sure you do is you go down to additional actions, okay, and basically change all your success messages. You'll need to turn on custom message, okay, because what happens is if you click the button or the form, you'll have a note down here that says your form has been sent, and of course it hasn't, and that's confusing. So what I just put was redirecting to application form. It only shows very briefly, so I'll show you here. There we go. But it helps to not confuse the user, basically. Alright, and that's it really. So in short, you're creating a button using a form. You use some hidden fields from that button to carry over information you want to carry over. So in my case, I want to carry over the post title, location and salary, and you get those in the advanced field, and you're using the dynamic tags, okay. Location, again dynamic tags, but I'm using an ACF field to pull in that information, and again over here ACF field to pull in that location, that information. Then all you need to do is have your shortcodes, go down to your redirect URL, and then at the end of it, so at the end of your URL that goes to your application form, you have a question mark, and you can give it whatever parameter name you like, as long as you use that over on the application form side. Equals and your shortcode, and then if you want to add more, you just put and then another parameter name equals shortcode, and parameter name equals shortcode. So you just do it like that, okay. And then like I said, over here You then just want to remember your parameter name that you created in that URL, so that then you can say, okay, grab job title, and then it will look at the URL up in the address bar, and it will see job title equals, and then it will pull in whatever it equals. So that's it. I hope that helped. I hope I haven't rambled too much. Probably have, I usually do. But I hope that's helped people trying to achieve something like that. And again, you know, it doesn't have to. The field doesn't have to show. In my case, I'm having that field hidden, so it just sends to us when we get an email. But the information here is shown for the customer or the visitor or applicant. All right. So I hope that helps. Catch you again. I've been Gavin from thrivewp.com. See you in the next video.